Well, good evening, everyone. This is Matt Mallon from the Laurel Highlands Council, and welcome to the July version of the Pittsburgh chapter of the National Eagle Scout Association's invitation briefing. My name is Matt Mallon. I am a professional scouter who is the staff advisor to the Pittsburgh chapter of NESA, and I will be your host on the WebEx this evening and lead you through the next roughly 25 to 30 minutes of material to help you understand how the chapter is organized, able to fit in, and what our vision and mission are. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and jump right in. So this is the agenda that we'll cover. Why do we have a Pittsburgh chapter of the National Eagle Scout Association? What's our mission? And then lastly, we'll wrap that up with a quick discussion on chapter dues and how they are used. So without further ado, let's go ahead and plow right in. So the vision statement that we have for the chapter and for scouting in our community overall is wouldn't southwestern Pennsylvania be a much better place to live if we had several thousand more Eagle Scouts who lived in our communities and were serving our neighbors in their community, being excellent citizens for the benefit of all of southwestern Pennsylvania. So the primary goal of our local chapter of NESA is to help create more Eagle Scouts. So simply put, we are Eagles seeking Eagles. So within that mission and what we envision for ourselves is harnessing the power of organized adult Eagle Scout leadership to really help prosper the Boy Scouting movement in southwestern Pennsylvania, with the primary goal of helping create more Eagle Scouts. The chapter itself is less than a year old. We were about this time last year. We were on the drawing board stages of literally sketching out on the back of a napkin a potential organization chart and how we would go about creating and organizing the adult Eagle Scout leadership that exists here in southwestern Pennsylvania. And again, our goal is to help access and present opportunities for the adult Eagles to get engaged back in the scouting movement with the goal of having the adult Eagles foster more younger Eagles. So, and assisting, and the main vehicle that we would utilize to do that is creating Cub World. And I'm going to talk about Cub World here in just a few minutes in more detail. So again, our strategy is providing adult Eagles easy and convenient opportunities to give of their time, calendar, treasure to support the scouting movement. As we began to strategize in the summer of 2011 on what could an organization look like, we decided that a big project was needed to capture the attention of the unconnected adult Eagle Scouts. And that big project is Cub World. So Cub is the future vision of Cub Scout camping here in the Laurel Highlands Council in southwestern. So the chapter was designed to find Eagle Scouts and build the chapter by building Cub World and access the enormous pool of Eagle Scouts that we have here in southwestern Pennsylvania. We're not sure of the exact number. It's probably somewhere between 6,000 and 8,000 adult Eagle Scouts. It's kind of hard to keep track of since people are always moving into and out of the area. But again, the mission and the strategy of the chapter is to find them, re-engage with them, and then task them with some portion of Cub World. So let's talk about what is Cub World, and it's a strategic program designed to increase dramatically the number of Cub Scouts that go camping. And I will tell you that from a purely mathematical standpoint, the way that we create more Eagle Scouts is to retain more Cub Scouts that enter the program and transition them into the Boy Scouting program at a much higher rate. When I was a Cub Scout, Cub camping didn't really exist back in the late 70s and early 80s. Maybe some units were doing it, but there wasn't a systematic and programmatic way that the Boy Scouts of America encouraged Cub Scout packs to utilize an outdoor program that was pretty much relegated to the Boy Scouting program. Well, times have changed somewhat. And we now have, with the introduction of Camp Independence at Heritage Reservation, we have had a Cub Scout camping facility for going on 20 years now. And that facility is, if you were to compare it to the balance or the rest of local council Cub Scout camping in the country, I think you'd come away with the assessment that we're doing Cub camping fairly well. But ironically, only 18% of our Cub Scouts that are here in the Laurel Highlands Council attend an overnight camping experience at Heritage Reservation. So our goal is to dramatically increase that number up to 35%. The more Cubs that we can get into the program and get them outside earlier, the higher their retention rate will be within the Cub Scouting program. We will transition more and more of them into the Boy Scouting program, and more Boy Scouts and also an excellent Boy Scouting program will result in more Eagle Scouts. And so as we think about how do we achieve our goal of creating more Eagles for southwestern Pennsylvania, the Cub World strategy fits very closely to our vision of what we want to do. So if you've been to Camp Independence or been to Heritage Reservation, you would realize that it exists now today, and as I mentioned, it has been in operation for 20 years now, and it kind of looks and feels like a miniature Boy Scout camp. The facilities are reasonably primitive. There are green canvas wall tents on wooden platform floors, and participants who go camping there for either 3 or 4 day sessions have a host of Cub Scout camping program opportunities to participate in, anything from fishing to archery to BB guns and all manner. We even have a rock throwing range that is down at Camp Independence because boys just seem to like to throw rocks. In fact, that's one of the most popular activities for them to utilize is this special rock throwing range. So the more boys that we can get outside and have that outdoor experience, the better off that they will be. And we sell the camping experience to a Cub Scout. So as we're recruiting new Cub Scouts to join the program, we're out in schools and have our district executives out in the field drumming up or helping units drum up new membership. They're selling the camping experience. They have flyers that they're showing to kids, and they're taking home from school that have a picture of a boy rowing a boat and shooting a BB gun and a bow and arrow, and having a great time outdoors. But all too often, the Cub Scout pack that they join does not have a camping program, and they end up going to the Pinewood Derby and gluing macaroni on plates and maybe visiting the fire station. So the sales expectation that we set in the mind of a 7 or 8 year old who's first joining the program is by and large not being met by the units that we have within the council, the Cub Scout packs that are out there delivering program to these young boys. Our goal is dramatically increasing the numbers of Cub Scouts that are going camping, and I'll talk about next is the way that we plan to do that. The feedback that we consistently get year over year of people who are leaving camp on their way out, sort of their exit interview that takes place prior to them hopping in their cars and driving away, is that the program areas are great. The boys love them, but the facilities are lacking. The green canvas wall tents on wood platform floors with the 2-hole pit latrine is not an optimal introductory camping experience for a brand new family that might not have a background in camping. So what other local councils across the country have done is implement Cub World, which is a transitionary camping experience that allows a new family, a new Cub Scout and his parent, and ease themselves into the Scout camping spectrum. So on one side of the spectrum, we want to have Cub World, where it is more like I'll call it almost a Motel 6-like experience where there's a bunkhouse and cabins, and it's a very non-intimidating environment. But on the other side of the spectrum, where Boy Scouts are camping, we still want them out in the backcountry. We want them testing their limits. We want them on, multi-day backpacking and wilderness canoe trips that really thrust them into the outdoors to prove themselves. But get a scout there. How do we get a Cub Scout who has no camping experience whatsoever into the program in a way? And what other local councils across the country have done is to create this introductory and transitionary camping experience. And the way that we're going to do that is there have been a number of committees at the council level that have been operating over the past couple of years and creating the vision for Cub World. And the Cub incorporates 3 main improvements to Camp Independence and Heritage, and one is completely infrastructure-based on some sewage and water and utilities and whatnot. The second is program area improvements, and so we've got a number of new program areas that have been identified, a mountain biking course, new climbing walls for the Webelos Scouts air rifle range that will be built specifically for Webelos Scouts. And the goal is to not only improve the residential experience that they would see in the form of buildings to help facilitate their camping experience, but also some definite program area improvements as well. And so, as I had mentioned that there were a number of other local councils across the country that have pursued a Cub World-like strategy. And what most of them have done is find a common building that would be like a bunkhouse that might sleep 40 or so on the inside and have indoor plumbing and indoor showers. The back of that building would open up to a traditional camping environment where you might have a couple of wall tents hooked up and a fire ring, of course. But the front of the buildings would have a different facade. And the facades could change, but both the exterior decor of this residential structure would match the interior decor as well. So here's an example of, in fact, this is a picture of a camp over in Reading, PA, that has a fort facade on it, and that could be end up being a pirate ship. It could be a space station, sort of only limited by our imagination. So. Not only would the structure be in place, but it would also have a second story on it, in this case the fort. You can see there's some ramparts and blockhouses there for the boys to play on. So as soon as they even begin approaching the building, they can tell that they're in for a fun time. So the next shot I wanted to show you is the same camp, and you can see that common residential structure that's there that would let out to a wall tent area in the back. But again, the thought is, a common set of buildings that would have a low maintenance cost and have an ability to change the facade on them over time. And in this way, we can accommodate a couple of things. One is we get that brand new camping family who may not have an outdoor, personal outdoor camping heritage themselves, and we can get them into the spectrum of the camping experience. And also, if you had a Cub Scout pack that had a variety of experience levels within their different families, you could have some inside and some outside as well. So you could accommodate an entire unit at one camping site and still provide them with a range of creature comfort options to allow them to have this transitionary camping experience and begin an overall outdoor experience. So that's the first phase of what we envision from a residential structure standpoint. And the second component, and I'll call this the next step in the camping spectrum, is not to have indoor plumbing and a bunkhouse. And this is what we call our treehouse strategy. And so these would be kind of sort of the next difficulty. Perhaps a family could stay the first year or two in those facaded residential structures, and then they would move to the treehouse facilities. And so this would be the second level of camping experience. And so simply put, the tree houses would be built into the natural tree line. They would have bunks and electricity inside, and that's about it. So, and they would share a flush latrine facility with another treehouse cabin, campsite that would be close by. And so the two of these combined, having the residential structure and then as the first step in, and then secondly, the treehouse structure, we believe will allow us to dramatically accelerate the number of Cub Scouts that are attending resident camp and having that outdoor experience. So I'm going to pause for a moment and then kind of flip back to so that's the vision of Cub World. Is again, how do we create more Eagle Scouts? We do that by dramatically increasing the number of Cub Scouts that are going camping, which will in turn have a dramatic increase in our retention in the Cub Scout ranks, because we still do a gangbuster job of attracting new Cub Scouts to the program. But our data shows us that if they don't have a outdoor experience, particularly an overnight outdoor experience, even in those Cub Scout years, that they experience attrition at a dramatically higher rate. And when we can get them to have a positive outdoor experience earlier in the program, they stay in much longer. They stay in long enough to not only make the successful transition into Boy Scouting, but we frequently say in the scouting business that time plus content, meaning the program, equals character development. So as we think about the overall objectives of the scouting movement is to have a young man in the program for about 5 years, whether that's in the Cub Scout and Boy Scout spectrum altogether or in either one of those two programs. Again, our goal is to get a boy into the program and keep him there for about 5 years, so those citizenship and character development lessons that we're both slipping in on the sides of the outdoor program are beginning to really take hold in the mind of that young man. So I'm going to kind of end the Cub World discussion here momentarily and flip back to our leadership team to begin to tell you how we're organized as a chapter, and then I'm going to move from there into what types of opportunities exist for you to get involved as well. So our leadership team is Joe Salvucci, who is the CEO of Peak Technical Staffing, is our chairman, and Joe and I had helped him meet and recruit the other members of our board. Mike Wojcik is our membership officer. Eric Newman is our communications officer. Dave Thompson is our mentoring officer, and we have an exciting career mentoring program, which I'll talk about here in just a minute. Jonathan Hall is assisting us with fundraising. Howard Schillinger is our service team officer, and that is comprised of folks that have some type of skill that we can employ either in the maintenance of our existing camping properties or in the construction of Cub World. So think about plumbers, electricians, carpenters, masons, roofers, things like that. Maury Locke is leading up our professional team that's composed of engineers and architects and lawyers. And lastly, Frank Glazer is our 100th anniversary officer. 2012 is the 100th anniversary of the Eagle Scout Award. The first one was awarded back in, I believe it was September of 1912, and we are in the 100th anniversary year, and we've got some special plans this fall to help celebrate that fact tied into the council recognition dinner. And then there are several gentlemen, Jim Lycan, Paul Pigman, Bud Smith, and Barry Gibbs, who are on our leadership advisory board. So how do you get involved, and what opportunities exist to get involved? With multiple opportunities throughout the course of the year to get support scouting. Each of us, sort of sits at this crossroads at a different place in their life and their career. We may have Eagle Scouts that are still in their 20s and there are plenty of Eagles who are in their late 50s and 60s who are well established in their careers. But everyone approaches this particular place in time with a different skill set and a different level of gifts at their disposal, be it time, talent, or treasure, to help assist the scouting movement in southwestern Pennsylvania. So how the chapter ends. So the first thing I wanted to talk about is membership. So you can join our team that's helping spread the word about scouting and in the NESA chapter here in Pennsylvania. As I mentioned, we have somewhere between 7,000 and 10,000 prospects that are adult Eagles that live here in southwestern PA. And so we would love to have some additional folks that have some basic salesmanship skills that can get on the phone with people, talk to them about the chapter and what our mission is, and encourage them to join us in our mission of helping create a few thousand more Eagle Scouts for southwestern PA. The next area that you might be able to help with is on the fundraising side. So the Laurel Highlands Council always could use help with securing gifts of all sizes, be it both small and large, to help support scouting. As I had mentioned, the existing committees at the council level that exist to help support the Cub World vision, there is a fundraising team that's out there that is seeking capital gifts from both high net worth individuals as well as corporations and foundations to help with the construction of Cub World. So we would love to, our plan is to recruit a team of Eagle Scouts from NESA to kind of come alongside that existing fundraising team and essentially be the field sales force, if you will, about pursuing gifts to support the creation of Cub World. Another area that you might be able to assist the chapter is on the communications side of the house. And so we have a team that exists to kind of help work closely with membership in strategic marketing and getting the word out. So they're involved with press relations, writing communications pieces, and so on and so forth. Another area that you could help would be that service team. So we're always in need. If you were to take a look at I'll call it the honey-do list for each one of the 9 camping properties that we have, it's always long and distinguished. So all of our camps are in various age cycles. Some of them are aging, others are reasonably newer, but they all have a maintenance list that needs to be done. And so in addition to actually helping create some of the structures in the program areas, that we also have plans to just provide general assistance to the council here in southwestern Pennsylvania. In fact, we had back in May the first Eagle Scout Day of Service down at Heritage Reservation, and where we had 22 Eagles that gave a few hours on a Saturday to come down and build some fishing piers for Camp Independence, which is the Cub Scout camp. And so we've got 2 additional days planned for this fall that will be additional Eagle Scout days of service where whether you've got some skills in carpentry or electronics, or can just carry boards from point A to point B like me, or just kind of general labor to clear brush or do whatever, we've got ample opportunities for you to get involved. The next area where you might have an ability to help us is through our mentoring program. So we have just officially launched, as of yesterday, our mentoring program. And so the goal of this particular program is just launched a day or 2 ago. So another way that you could possibly get involved, and I'll call this more down at the grassroots level where the rubber meets the road for scouting, is if you had a desire to join a scouting unit, either as a committee member or a assistant scoutmaster, we can certainly help find a way to get you plugged in. And in each of our now 16 geographic districts across the council are always in need of additional high-quality volunteers to help out with an array of, and so can easily put you in touch with some of our district directors that are out there, very close to your home. And then the last way that you can potentially get involved is becoming a merit badge counselor. Whatever your vocation is or skill, I'm certain that there are probably a number of merit badges that you would probably be qualified for being a counselor for. And so we're always on the lookout for, not only more of the, I'll call it the typical counselors, the citizenship, the communications and whatnot, but if you had a specific career skill, whether it be nuclear science or robotics or you name it, on the lookout for more merit badge counselors. And lastly, I had mentioned those upcoming Eagle Scout Days of Service. As you can see on the bottom of the slide there, we have one scheduled for August 18th at Camp Anawanna in Washington County, and then the one after that is September 25th at Camp Twin Echo, which is just north of Ligonier. The 18th is a weekend, but the September 25th date is a weekday, and that's being done in conjunction with the United Way Day of Caring. So if your company is a United Way supporter and you are encouraged to participate in the United Way Day of Caring, you might be able to grab a team from your office to head out and do some community service and do some work up at Camp Twin Echo. So that might all sound good, but how do you actually get involved? And how do you telegraph to us your interest on how you might be able to serve? And so we've designed a membership process that begins with the website, as you can see on the screen there. You join the chapter and go to pghnesa.org, and then on the left-hand side there is a Become a Member link, and once you click that, the little form will load up, and then you click the Register button and fill out the form. It takes about 5 minutes tops. There's a number of questions to answer, just some basic contact information, and then also what are your skills, abilities, and interests, and how could you assist the chapter, whether that's in, I can help with membership and recruiting, I could help with fundraising, I could help with carpentry or masonry or whatever the case may be. It's all there, and you just kind of go through the form and click the buttons of areas that you might be able to assist us with, and then if we see your membership come in, you'll get a greeting, and then perhaps the chairman of that subcommittee will be in touch with you to discuss some further ways that you might be able to assist scouting and assist the chapter. So the last thing I wanted to talk about is the chapter membership dues and what are they used for. So the target audience, if you will, of Scouts that we are trying to reach through our strategy of having a Pittsburgh chapter of the National Eagle Scout Association is the unconnected Eagle Scout. And there are thousands of them that are here in southwestern Pennsylvania that are not supporting scouting in any way, beyond purely a fundraising activity, but having the ability to raise both operating funds as well as capital funds is one of the components of our strategy. And so I wanted to highlight that and make sure that that is quite answered on that. So we did have a discussion when we first were forming the chapter amongst our founding committee of whether we charge dues or not. And we did decide to charge dues, and they're fairly nominal for annual dues. The first, I'll call it the Eagle Scout sort of standard membership level, is $50 a year. And so what do we do with those dues? Well, that becomes a Friends of Scouting contribution. And I wanted to talk briefly about Friends of Scouting and why that it is important to the scouting movement and the overall health of scouting and the ability of units to deliver their programs down to the boys. So as we think about the councils, we serve just about a little over 29,000 scouts now across a 10-county area. Each one of those scouts belongs to a unit, and each unit belongs to a district. District events and council properties that help support those events are really, we exist to put the resources in the hands of the unit leader that helps them deliver the promise of scouting. And that covers having top-notch facilities for them to camp on, making sure those facilities are well-maintained, making sure that families and unit leaders have an opportunity to attend training so unit leaders can deliver on that very important promise of scouting. And then lastly, to ensure that we keep the cost of our camps manageable. If we were to purely operate both weekend camping and long-term camping on a break-even basis without subsidizing the cost of those camps from our Friends of Scouting campaign, it would probably put camping opportunities out of the financial range of many families who have their scouting. And so as we raise funds each year through the Friends of Scouting campaign, we do so in a number of different ways. And for those of you, some of you might be familiar with the Family Friends of Scouting campaign, where a district-level volunteer would come into a scout troop or a Cub Scout pack at a blue and gold banquet or a Court of Honor or something like that, and make an appeal for them to support scouting. And the donation level that we would suggest that each family consider is $150 per year per scout. And that, as we analyze the number of scouts in the program and our overall output, that's roughly the cost per scout to support a boy in the program for a year. So that's the amount that we help families. We ask families to consider a financial gift. Obviously, we're thrilled and pleased to get financial support of any size, but we ask each family to consider a $150 donation to support a scout in the program for a year. And so we modeled the chapter membership levels after that same mindset. So as I mentioned, the initial sort of the standard entry-level dues for the year are $50 a year, and then we have a series of palms. We've got a bronze palm, gold palm, silver palm, bronze palm eagles that if you have an ability to support a scout in the program for a year or support two scouts, we're certainly very pleased to have that level of financial support. And the choice of membership dues really gives each member of the chapter a direct and to make an impact on the quality of our programs. Because again, our job at the council level is to provide the resources, the training, and the materials, and put those into the hands of the unit leaders so they can deliver on the promise of scouting. And the Friends of Scouting overall strategy is a very important component of that. That we can make sure that we are doing our job in gathering the resources that are required for unit leaders to really deliver on that promise of scouting. So that's why I wanted to spend just a moment talking about Friends of Scouting, because again, for our target audience, which is again the unconnected Eagle Scout, the vast majority of them are not supporting scouting financially. But again, the overall vision of the chapter is not just as a fundraising strategy, but it's really to provide adult Eagles with an ability to reconnect to scouting and give of their time, their talent, or their treasure. And each of us approaches that from a different standpoint, from a different state of life, from a different resource base. Some might be able to come in and work on a weekend and give a few hours, towards a construction or a maintenance project. Others might be able to provide some leadership to help get us organized and spread the word and recruit new members in. And others might not have time for any of that, but they have the financial resources to make a gift to support the scouting movement. And we're certainly welcome and thrilled to have support in all three of those critical areas. And so that really concludes the briefing for this evening, and we're just about a little bit over a half an hour mark. So at this time, I'm going to go ahead and pause the recording, and we'll go ahead and take any questions that you may have.